Welcome to the First Reviews podcast. Today, we are joined by the incredibly talented director, writer, and actor Mayumi Yoshida about her latest film, Akashi, which is premiering at the Vancouver International Film Festival this upcoming week. Screenings are scheduled for October 5th and Thursday, October 9th. Mayumi, how are you?
I'm very good. Thank you. Thanks for that's such a generous intro. Thank you.
No, of course, no problem. Akashi is a deeply intimate story that explores the quiet complexities of intergenerational relationships, cultural identity, and the lingering echoes of the past. Set between Japan and Canada, the film delves into themes of family, memory, and what it means to belong or not to belong to the places that we call home. The story of Akashi was loosely based on, if I'm not mistaken, a true story about your grandmother having another lover. And how did you balance truth and fiction in the story when you were expanding it from a short story into a feature-length film?
Yeah, so I think the conversation between me and my grandma uh is maybe the only true event that is in the film. Everything else is it's really like an expansion of my imagination. So I don't know how this affair went. I've never met the other woman. And by the time I heard this story, my grandpa had already passed. So nobody really knows. But the conversation that sparked this idea was something that really kind of stayed with me for a long time. It was like the first conversation was back in like 2011. So uh, I just wanted to sort of expand just from that interaction I had with my grandma. And so there was actually a lot more creative liberty. And even with Kana's life, even though she's close to what my experience is as an artist from Japan living in Vancouver, there's still a lot of significant difference between me and Kana. So yeah, there was a lot of creative liberty.
It's been the short film came out in 2017,
Mhm.
and now the feature film is coming out, screening in the next couple of days. So it's been a number of years in between that time period. What has changed for you, either personally or creatively, between making the short and the feature?
That's an amazing question. I think originally when I made this short, which was originally a play, which kind of was like around the same time in 2016 when I was making it, I had a different relationship between me, myself, and home. And I think now, in the last, 8, 9 years that I've been developing this, I feel like I've found my voice as an artist, or at least it's clearer, and sense of belonging and this loss of identity, like all that part is now I've sort of embraced that as part of my own experience as a third culture kid because it's not before I think I thought, oh, that was my weakness or a struggle that I had. But I've embraced that that struggle is actually just part of my identity. And I really love that now that I sort of straddle two cultures. And yeah, I feel like it's now my superpower as a filmmaker. So that's sort of the big shift, I think.
On that topic, being a child of an immigrant, I connected to the story with going back home. Um, my family's from Italy, and I often go back. And there are small little things that happen with the family, with her extended family in the film that I is so true when they throw subtle jabs that you're a
Yeah.
foreigner, things like that. Make fun of my accent because it's obviously Canadianized. It's not a true Italian. I try my best, but I think that is was done so effectively in the film with showcasing that. that aspect of the relationship with intergenerational connections and going back and
Yeah.
feeling the disconnect for
I'm
sure.
so glad. I'm so glad you mentioned that because I think there's a lot of films from our diaspora, but I feel like that part of a person going back to their home, their heritage home, is like something that is not explored enough yet. And the feeling of, and for those who are able to speak the language of that country. Like it's such a weird experience when you are from that place, but then everybody else in that country also kind of sees you differently. And so you're
Yeah.
just in this like small pocket of like, wait, where am I? So yeah, it's very real. And so I'm glad that resonated with you.
Yeah. One of the most effective elements in the film, for me, is how Kana is able to reconcile what she thought she knew with what actually happened. This causes her to question her past and her reality that she has lived. Um, Through the use of black and white and vivid color moments, you're able to talk about the contrast between memory and perceived reality. But it's interesting that the current moments are black and white and the memories are vivid color when I would think it would be the opposite, right?
Mm,
When I think of memories, I don't really associate some color with them. You think about it, they're like black and white. So
mm.
I thought that was a really interesting contrast between the black and white and the vivid color moments. Can you talk about your choice in color palettes and how you came to introduce the black and white elements?
Totally. So the black and white, I'll start with the colors. I agree. I think typically we would portray past or flashbacks or memories in black and white. But I sort of wanted to visit these past as a vivid memory of Grandpa's experience. So to be able to see this relationship through his eyes, I feel like maybe the viewers would look at it differently, even though it's
Okay.
infidelity. And that's what Kana herself asks Wakako in the scene. But if you were in that position, how would you feel was sort of what I was curious about. And that's something that my grandma, I think, did. She just instantly was able to put herself in my grandpa's position, saying that she felt sorry for grandpa, that she couldn't, they couldn't be with the love of their life. And that was to me very refreshing. And I couldn't understand it at first. So it's also an exploration of, I want to kind of pose the question to everybody that, like, if we do see this relationship in that kind of lens, in this perhaps Romeo and Juliet kind of setting, would we look at it differently? And then for the black and white present times, I wanted to distinctly feel different from that flashback because we actually have three timelines. We have Kana's own flashback, and then the grandpa's love affair timeline,
That's
and then
right.
the present time. So we did go back and forth about like with Kana's flashback, do we go black and white? And then so we made the rule that the color is specifically tied to the lover's storyline. And Kana's like direct memory flashback is still going to be black and white because it's Kana's experience. And the choice of black and white was also because I wanted to sort of feel this modern struggle that Kana goes through as a classic film. Like it's if we see it with color, we might have a more harsh judgment view on present time struggles. But
Okay.
if it was sort of distilled in time, like Frances Ha or Annie Hall, like you can't really pinpoint what year. Oops, sorry. I should no, I should stop this notification. Um, you can't quite pinpoint what era it's in. Whether is it 5 years ago, is it 10 years later, or is it 10 years ago? You can't
Yeah.
quite, but then it's universal because this struggle could have happened 10 years ago or 15 years ago. and I would love that for the next 10 years or more. Whoever watches Kana's experience, it's a modern day struggle. That's the category I wanted to put it in. And if we sort of lose that judgment, that harsh judgment towards our present times, then could we take these kind of struggles more seriously, perhaps? And that was sort of another question that I wanted to raise for myself and the audience as well.
I connect with Kana's character in another way. I'm also an artist. I've been a visual artist my whole life. So I
Is that your work behind you?
No, that's not. No, I'm just
Okay.
in I'm in like a party room at a condo.
Okay.
Yeah. And I actually was um unintentionally painting for the first time in over a month while watching your film, transitioning from an artist that for pure enjoyment to a commercial artist. I think every artist goes through that problem,
Mhm.
and you start questioning: is this art for me? Is it for I'm strictly doing it for the customer. So there's I think every artist goes through that period
Yeah.
in their life when they start making work for other people and it's not for them. You
Mm.
have to find a way to connect with your work. So it's been about a month since I did my last painting, and I was working on this painting, and this one here is for a customer, and I'm looking at this painting. I'm enjoying the direction it's going in, but then I'm watching Kana and her journey. So it was interesting to have that connection and watch this film through a lens of an artist. So I do have a couple questions regarding the artwork in the film. Um,
Yeah.
a lot of the emotional discoveries in the film are connected to artistic objects, whether it's a painting, whether it's a sketch, or even like love letters. Um, what do you think art allows us to say to people, especially family who don't really understand our work through art?
Mm. I think any art form is it's an embodiment of expression. So something that we can't quite express verbally, we try to put that on the canvas or the movie or the song. And even if we can articulate it, sometimes there's something that's uh beyond articulation. And and it's also something once you put it into an art form, then it is now not just yours, it's for other people to perceive and experience. And then somehow people find universal language between just experiencing something. So I think that's the beauty of art. And um, it's, I think it's almost, during COVID, one of the things that I think that one of the positive things I think that came out was how much we love to experience. Like that was sort of revealed in when we were all detached from all of that. So there were more talks about like, okay, the value of art, like what we need to make more, tell more stories that are heartfelt or it that's an experience that we're longing for that we don't have currently. And so right now in the moment, some people may not understand, but down the road or whenever you find that art, that is the moment when you realize the weight and the value of it. So you can't, and that's hard to do because consumerism is like, when you make it, we need to know the value.
Yes,
We need
true.
to know exactly how much that will mean and have impact and make money. And I don't think it's about that. It's just trust that somehow, somewhere, what you put in is going to come out to be something that you hopefully want it to be. But then the ripple effect it has is something that immeasurable. You won't, we will never know until you actually put it out. But a lot of the process, I think, is because we're so worried about that initial phase of, oh my God, how well is it going to make money? How long will it take? Blah, 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 blah. All that things will actually hinder us from trusting to put all of that work. And I think that was Kana's biggest struggle that she's feeling like she is an artist. But her, like you were saying, something that she was creating for herself is not just for herself anymore, which means that she's moving into a professional place, which is amazing. But as an artist, she's struggling to balance her own artistic vision and identity versus whatever she's creating for others so that it's more palatable or um, easily make a result. So that journey is, I think, just in any medium, it's the same. And for anybody who's not in the arts, it's just so hard to understand. But they will always appreciate when they actually see it. So I think we just, as artists, we have to, it's an abandoning of that trying to meet their expectation, but also welcoming when they're able to appreciate it.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And I'm telling this to myself.
Yes, 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 yes. It's good to tell yourself that as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because 100% I'm like, well, is this gonna, like I have that initial, I put so much pressure on what I'm about to make, which is so difficult. Like it's just so cruel to what you're about to bake. So, yeah, it's a constant cycle of struggle.
Were there any films or artworks that visually inspired Akashi, and how did those influences manifest in your own visual language?
Mm. If it's directly like tied to film, I'd say there are a lot of inspirations. Like in the writing, I think I was very inspired by the Before trilogies, and of course, visually in the Mood for Love and like Wong Kar-wai's world for like that dreamy uh flashback sequences. I also was when I was writing the Klimt scene. Um, one of my favorite films is Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet, and that fish tank scene, I sort of wanted to recreate that with the art gallery scene. So that was one of those visual, like directly tied to film inspirations. Um, Klimt was definitely not so much the actual art, but his relationship with Emily I only know it in Japanese, Emily Furege, but their relationship was definitely a huge inspiration. I loved his work already. Like Kiss is one of my favorite paintings, but when I went to the Klimt exhibit in Japan, they actually had a little like glass case filled with love letters between the two
Oh,
of them.
okay.
And there's only like a handful left because I think they got lost or they burnt. I don't know. They just don't exist. So when I saw that, it reminded me of how these again like this experience of what grandpa experienced is very universal, different shapes and forms, but the core of like I there is someone out there that that is that person, your
Hmm.
person, but for many circumstances, reasons, like it's just not the right moment or it just didn't happen. And that doesn't
Yeah,
mean that they're not special or that person for you. They just exist in a different place and they have sort of a different seat in their life. So I kind of wanted to mirror that relationship with Grandpa's love affair. And I just love how one art that has been made over 100 years ago can live in so many different households and have different meanings.
it's true.
So yeah, I wanted to have that in there too.
Wonderful. Was there a scene or moment in the film that was especially meaningful to you as a director, either in the process of making it or seeing it come to life on screen? Obviously, some scenes will affect you differently, being based on a true story. But were there any scenes in particular?
Oh my goodness, there's so many. Every scene is so special, literally every scene. But if I had to pick, I think there's two. One is definitely the last scene, the final scene.
Okay.
I won't spoil it. I always had that in mind, and I didn't want it to be about something to do with art. So
Okay.
and definitely inspired by Cinema Paradiso. I just love that movie. So there's something like that in there too. And the other one is I won't, I guess I won't spoil, but another sequence when right after Kana closes her eyes,
Okay.
um, that part, so originally it was a play, this script, and something I what I love about theater is that you can kind of suddenly go into a totally different world, like a magical place, and it's fine. And I sort of wanted to infuse that kind of energy in this movie where, up until then, everything is pretty, you know, a family drama,
Mhm.
multi-generational love story is very grounded. But I sort of wanted can I swear?
Sure.
Like a fuck it energy. Like,
Yeah. Okay.
you
Okay.
know, like what, who made these rules? Who cares? I just kind of wanted that
Yeah.
kind of energy in there so that there's a bit of party, there's a bit of playfulness, there's a bit of rule breaking, and that's okay.
I love that. I did really enjoy that scene. I
Oh,
thought
cool.
I didn't feel like it was out of place in any way. Um, I thought it was a beautiful connection between two people.
Thank you.
Yeah. My last question for you is, what do you hope audiences take away from Akashi, especially with those who might see part of their own family story reflected in it?
Similar to the answer before, I am not the person that I dictates how everybody should experience. So, any experience you have is validated. And I personally don't also have this like I want people to take away with this feeling. So what I what I'd hope it inspires perhaps is I hope that if there are folks in your life that you maybe haven't talked to in a while, whether that's family, friend, a lover, whoever it is, I think I want people to know that it's never too late to reconnect. And you never know how that other person might feel when you reach out to them. You'd be surprised maybe that they're actually so happy to hear from you. But a lot of our actions, I think, is hindered by fear. So, especially, human relationships. So, I hope it inspires you to, one, love yourself more, and then get out of your comfort zone to maybe perhaps reach out to that other person by watching this film.
Awesome. Wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Akashi is screening Sunday, October 5th and Thursday, October 9th at the Vancouver International Film Festival. Mayumi, thank you so much. This has been wonderful. I look forward to seeing people's response to the film, and I really enjoyed the film. So thank you for sharing that with me, and I hope everyone has a wonderful time screening it at the Vancouver International Film Festival.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you.